can't really remember the stuff that happened. That is what happened to our computer. We had a blue screen of death, and that's why we were out of the game shortly. What happened in the meantime is that Supernova, they got another kill during a tower dive in the bot lane. As a result of this, they do get the turret. Well, they didn't get the turret, sorry. Singularity, rather, got the turret in the top side as a answer to this tower dive, and now it's 4-1 in the kill.
Oh, and now we see a situation happening in bot side here, where
Well
Don't
done.
Bandita's coming down. They get the impale onto the Lucian, and double kill to Drakes. They kill everybody in the bot lane, and that's after them actually having a nice dive, as you mentioned earlier, in the bot lane as well. And we really get back into the game with a bang here.
Drake's popping off. Drake's is the current best KD8 player in League Championship Denmark Season 2, and he is destroying Singularity at this point. 5-0.
They're really setting him up to carry here. He has a 5-0 score from the laning phase only. Once again, just like he did on Volibear. Never thought I'd have to say that sentence. But yeah, they get the turret off the back of this. This turret dive does look a lot like the one we saw before, or you didn't see it, we did. And now it's 1-6 in the favor of Supernova. They're still only 200 goals ahead, so that means it's coming a lot from this Illaoi, who they're really trying to enable and snowball from the side of Singularity. 70 almost CS ahead of his opponent.
And it was a nice tower dive we saw as well. We saw Jeppe Ho stepping up on this Braum really well, cancelling out some of the ultis from the other team, and just in general made sure that the tower dive was successful and that they got both the kills and the pressure.
Exactly, and he flashes and then uses his W to leap out of turret range so that he prevents dying, and then everything else was cancelled, and Supernova went out with everything in their pockets, and that was good.
Well, it's good for them, certainly. Singularity is not too happy about it. I think they do apply the pressure after a recall from Singularity here on the bottom side. They do get the turret down here, and now they're back in the lead. It's going to be exciting to see if they can actually work around these tools or lack of tools from Singularity's side as we get into the mid-game. I'd say we're officially here now. They apply a little bit of pressure top side, but Illaoi, interesting to see if she can do a 2 versus 1 here in the top side.
What do you think, Storm, about the matchup in the top lane? We do see the difference, CS difference between Illaoi.
I do have to think that's going to wait a little, because we see a lot of turrets going down in the bot side. Up top side, we see the Impale being used. This is Illaoi. This is Linux. He is going down. And in the bot side, we see a lot of damage onto the inhibitor turret. Only 15 minutes into the game. Not 50. We haven't seen such a long game in a long time. Here comes a long ultimate. This is the Call of the Forge God. Hits nothing. And they're still going strong onto the turrets of this Supernova team. Singularity really finding their way into the base. Mundo going where he pleases, flashing out of the stun, getting knocked up by Braum, and getting caught in the Glacial Storm, going down. The rest of the team escapes with their lives and laugh at their tank in the back of the fight.
Something I think when I look at this is a shame if you look at it with Supernova eyes, is that they're being sort of like out macro played here. Because I definitely still believe that the team composition itself is way stronger on Supernova, and I do still commit to that. But it seems like they're being outplayed macro-wise.
Well, in this case, though, you have to consider the fact, because I know you're making the statement that Supernova are going to win this game because they have the tools and the comfort from their champions. But I do believe what we see here from Singularity, they've been the stronger team over the course of the 2 other games. Right now, they get the inhibitor turret a little bit clumsily, but you see what the Mundo can do. And along with the Vladimir, they can just run along into the back line, you know, take a nice little stroll off the face of Kai'Sa, and you might be 5-0, 6-0 at this point. Very strong performance from Drake. But still, that is a high threat towards the prime carry of this team.
But we haven't seen a full team fight yet, and we saw what happened top lane, and that's what I mentioned, what could happen about the Sconner ultimate, I'm sorry. And we saw that on top lane just with the Braum passive instead, denying all the damage. And I think that's going to be enough to totally destroy Singularity in a full 5-on-5 team fight.
I think that's going to be the case, man. You're putting your reputation on the line here. You're really committing to this Supernova team comp, and certainly they've gotten a lot of the kills, and we do get to see
might be caught out, ignited, going down, And then the fight continues here. Impale onto the Vladimir. He is pulling. Hemoplague is being challenged. He gets out with a nice flash and stays alive. This is Telvi chasing him down. Raxon gets ruptured. He gets feasted. Nom nom nom. He goes down. The Vladimir is done for. And this is Linux damage. Look at the leap of faith. No. This is enormous. He gets all the damage and people keeps dying. Double kill. He goes down himself. What a fight in the mid lane.
But still Supernova victorious.
Well, holy hell grenade, we got a crazy fight up in here, and we do see some of the tools you've mentioned here, Justy. They do get the team fight through the tools that they have here. They do get the pressure on the turret as they want. And in the team fight, certainly it looks difficult for Singularity to pull it off. What I want to see from those guys is that they enable themselves through the 1-3-1, get Raxon in the side lane, don't look for these fights.
Oh, Call of the Force God here trying to connect. Nivea not really having any of it, getting out alive and just putting up the Glacial Storm, walking away, flapping away rather, having her time of her life, I think, in this game right now.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen, because I still do believe in Supernova in this game, but everything can happen. And we know that in League. Everything can happen. It's just a question if somebody steps on the wrong stone or in the wrong brush.
Yeah, and certainly the game has been really, really even so far. The gold hasn't swung too hard into either side. Right now it is approximately 2,000 gold in the advantage of Supernova after that teamfight play. But right now we see them dance a little bit around the middle lane. I don't like what I see from Singularity here. Once again, they look like they're pacing into a fight here. The only way I see them winning a fight is being able to take all the damage and CC from Supernova.
Oh, look at this caught out Linux. He
damage.
steps right into the wall. Nice play from Vivifica, shutting him up. And this is Menja really low. Of course they get him. Nice flash from Dom Bandita. And they are really putting on a clinic showdown here. Just cleaning house in the mid lane.
They're certainly cleaning house here. They put the pressure upon the inhibitor turret. They get it down. They also get the inhibitor here off the bat of this fight here. And, well, good for Supernova. Indeed, they do get to turn it around here, and it's crucial for those guys because they do have to win if they want to. They have to win all of them, actually, to pull off the reverse sweep, and they're certainly making a statement here in this game right now. 3-13, and now they've pushed the gold lead up to a point of almost, well, approximately 3,500 here.
And I have to ask you, Justy, at this point in the game, do you know about the word?
The bird?
Because I really love this bird at the moment. And,
You do?
and it's just placing, the wall placement is just so great against this opposing team. This Singularity team does not have a lot of dashes, and that means that whenever you put up this wall, they would have to use either a flash or potentially knock down the wall with Oren, and then he can't not get away. So it's a great utility tool and a tool that gets really great when you don't have that many dashes and flashes on the other team.
I think Vivi is doing an excellent work as well, now that you point out the bird here.
Dom Bandita.
Dom Bandita finding another target within his Impale, and this time it's Menja going down in the mid lane. They just keep on finding these small picks. When they get the advantage, they really know how to just get some kills and then get some structures.
But yeah, see if something's going to be played
Mundo.
out.
And that's what we talked about with the flash, right?
That's what I wanted to mention as well, but yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. The Baron has started.
It definitely is. This is the first Baron of this game, and it's going down rather quickly at the moment. But they are out. And this is a great Hemoplague, hitting all 5 members. But Vladimir goes down, and now they come in the rest of the team.
He gets the steal!
It major pick up here from Monk. It's getting the kill on the Baron, but the rest of his team is dying while Linux is taking the inhibitor.
That was actually pretty crucial. Even though 4-man died from Singularity, they're still able to accomplish the inhibitor in the bot lane and still have Linux with a Baron buff.
This is crazy from Monkus. This is the second Baron steal in this series from this guy. He is looking alive, even though he's on a 0-4 score here on the Mundo. It doesn't matter. He gets what they need to stay in the game. Linux is split pushing. That's what they should look to do. They shouldn't look for these fights unless it is on an objective like this where they can get get the angle they want instead of a direct team fight with all the lack of CC.
And what a great engage from Raxon on this Vladimir. He hits everybody. He goes down, but he distracts so much attention away from this Supernova lineup that Munkits can go in and actually make this play happen.
Yeah.
It's such a great play from the Vladimir, as well as this this split push you talked about with getting the inhibitor. They actually extend the game a little further, and now we're in this funny stage where the teams are kind of trying to feel each other out and seeing where they can attack the next place.
I think it was very good, and I want to just fastly rewind a bit about Anivia, because what you mentioned here is that Vivifika is doing amazing here. He might only be 107. Like, he's not the big carry here. That's going to be Drake's. But his essence, he's very effective. Especially with the walls.
Oh, Dombanita really wants it right now. He gets the Oran and he gets the kill down to the Oran. They are looking for more kills, but they are looking mostly towards this turret. They get it down. Lineup standing on the front line. And this is Vladimir going in. Hemopake has been popped on 2 members of the Supernova team. They get to back out, and this is the situation where they want to retreat. But remember, with an Anivia, you can turn the situation around while retreating. And they are looking to kill the minions in the wave. That is mostly important to the wave with the super minion.
And right now they're looking for the re-engage. They do get some of the cooldowns up now.
Oh, they go on to Munkits. He is locked up. He is knocked down. He is killed. Vladimir can't do a thing about it. Shut down onto Telvius as well. And that's a 1-for-1 in the fight started by Supernova.
Yes, and it is as ideally as it's going to get for Singularity. They don't quite bait out the cooldowns before they get the fight, so it's extremely hard to get in close to Supernova because they have so much peel. They have, well, the bird is the word, the ornithological nature, the bird, right? Going in there, creating the zones, creating the space for the carries. And if they want to disengage, just put up a wall and you stay behind it. The Wildlings, they're not coming through this time around.
No, they're not. And Supernova is doing an amazing work, and I think Dombanita needs a lot of credit in this game. Look at his kill presence, like what we've done. He's been so proactive throughout the whole game. If we look back a few games, even yesterday, that was not the Dombanita we saw. This is the Dombanita. When he's able to do stuff like that, and it works out, and it benefits the rest of Supernova by a lot.
He's certainly been way more proactive in this game, and maybe it's a simpler way of playing because Skarner, okay, you have the Impale. The Impale speaks for itself. You need to utilize that in some way or another. You have to go out there, you have to get dirty, and that's what he's done with a 4-0-11 score right now on the Skarner, which is impressive. So maybe it's more of a question of the champion he gets to play, and then he plays the playstyle that we want to see from him, a more proactive playstyle. He's certainly done it in this game. And a 419 score in kills, that certainly speaks to what sort of game we're seeing here.
But it's the team composition they're up against as well that helps out with this playstyle, because they're up against not as of an early game aggression team as they were in the last 2 games. And that means that they actually have more time to set up plays themselves. And Munkits on this Mundo hasn't really been that effective in the ganks, and we kind of need to see him step up in the fights from now on.
I like the fact that they extend their vision as well, Supernova, or at least try to deny Singularity their vision in their own jungle to be able to push this further, because they got 2 open inhibitors, Singularity, the bot lane and the mid lane, and if they can push through and at least get just one of them, their inhibitor is gonna be back first so that the pressure keeps continuing while they can sort of lay back.
This might be it, guys. We have Munkits in the back of this Supernova team. There are only 3 of them. They are trying to find the way in, but they can't really do it. And then Anivia arrives. This is Mundo once again being in great trouble. Gets killed. Galentha follows suit. Double kill to Drakes. They keep on chasing. Dombanito finds the Impale onto the Vladimir. He goes down, and now it's only Menjai and Linux left.
Triple kill to close it out here from Drakes. I do believe this is the game, and they do get the game that they so desperately were looking for here from Supernova's side on the back half of a composition with not a lot of tools, I might add, but still, this is maybe the positive thing that they need to actually pull off the reverse sweep. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a game on our hands right now. It is 2-1 in favor of Singularity still, but Supernova, they've come alive in the later stages of this series. So yeah, this gives us an exciting spin on the series as a whole now.
It really does, and it gives us an exciting spin on the pick and ban phase as well, because now you see two different styles at work. One that Singularity seems to win with, and one that Supernova seems to win with. Both teams have in both games played with the same kind of style, and now we'll see if they'll play different styles in the same game.
Notice as well now that the composition on Supernova's side, like, look at the amount of deaths. It's totally different. It's nothing compared to the last few games we've seen from Supernova. But when we get in here, again, yeah, as Beldoran fast here went to the damage done dealt to champions, Drake's.
Drake's is the
Beast.
hyper carry here. Anivia as well doing quite a lot of damage. Okay, so what we talked about here before the game, you were sure that they were going to win, and I agree. There's a lot of tools there for Supernova, but I also think it's on the back of a very non-ideal draft from Singularity. So surely Supernova, they will look to draft something along the lines of this again. I do think they look stronger with the Skarner and the Anivia, stuff like this. It might just be banned out, but Singularity as well, the next game, I don't think they're going to draft a comp without the amount of tools as they did this game. Mundo was pretty much non-existent.
I'm not too sure about that, because the meta itself, champion-wise, is actually some of the strongest champions currently Singularity has.
But there's no CC.
I totally agree. The only thing they got is the Ornn, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, but champion-wise, it's some of the strongest champions there is.
Yeah, but you need something to set up the champions, right? You could have had a CC jungler, and then that would have tied it better together. At least two champions that can proactively look for the engages instead of just one coming from the bot lane. It's not what I see as ideal, but certainly Supernova, they come away with the win in this one, and we can only find the answers in the future, which is in the next Champions League. After a brief pause, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-6 minute break right now, and then we're going to get into the fourth game between Singularity and Supernova.
close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are arrived at the fourth game between Singularity and Supernova. We didn't think the series was going to go this way. Singularity certainly hinted at that it might be a 3-0, but instead Supernova, they come back, they claw their way back into this best of 5 third-place match here, and right now we're seeing a 2-1 scoreline in the favor of Singularity still, but this might be the potential reverse sweep we're seeing here, boys.
That would be nice. I would like to see a reverse sweep because it's very rare. First of all,
It is very rare.
and I love the performance from Supernova last game, and I do want to. I did see it coming because that's what Supernova can do.
Yeah.
That's what they play up, and that we talked a bit about it as well, about the confidence, like the being solid on something you know how to perform on and what you have to do, and they did it, and it worked out just fine.
But there is some red flags if you want to get this reverse sweep through. Because we've seen the 2 first games, and in these 2 first games, we saw a lot of fighting in the early game. We saw a lot of fighting around the mid-game part, and we saw a Singularity team really showing the other team that they just did that part way better. And if they revert back to that same style, I think that even though Supernova picks up the same style as they did in the winning game, I think they'll get a run over. Because this is a slower styled gameplay with this scaling comp, and if they play up against the dominating lanes and the new fun picks from the Singularity lineup, I think they'll just get run over in the laning phase.
Beldoran, you touched it as well shortly, because if
I touched
Singularity,
a lot of things.
Oh yeah, but Singularity,
No.
if they decide to go back as well, like Supernova did, and do the traditional meta as we saw it before, do you think Singularity can pull it better off than Supernova can? I did hear it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I sort of ruined your point there, but yeah, I do hear where you're coming from, and my point was exactly. I do like your point about the comfort picks from Supernova. It's certainly the direction, the one direction I should think they should set themselves upon here, but. Singularity, they drafted themselves a comp where they didn't have a lot of engage tools, they didn't have a lot of things to match the fighting, and we saw that as a result of Mundo whenever he went in, right? This is when they make their engage in quotation here, but he just runs in there, he doesn't get to utilize his ultimate, he just dies. He had one great redeeming quality in that game, and that was Monkus stealing his second Baron for the series. But let's talk about the Champs Select. We're coming into it here. Let's talk a little bit about the bans coming through here.
You want to go for it, Storm?
Well, we see a lot of the things we're used to seeing at the moment. Zoe getting perma-banned almost in our entire playoffs, and as well as this Yasuo getting either picked or completely banned out. Seen him twice now, not going to see him in the 4th game. And the Aurelia, once again, was banned out in the last game, and is really a power pick because you can flex it. We've talked a lot about this pick, and it's interesting to see. The Scanner pick, however, the ban rather, that is really interesting because we've seen it banned before, and it's one of the few things that Don't Ban Nita has actually performed well on.
Yeah, and they respect it.
Yeah, they ban it out. I shouldn't wonder if they don't choose to ban out the Anivia. Morgana is one of the champions being banned out almost entirely.
Yeah.
I think actually
It is
maybe all
100%.
100%
I think
banned.
this is maybe except for Discarnal, like these 6 bans we are most used to see in our playoffs so far.
But don't get me wrong. I would say that they could actually decide to take the Morgana instead. And not ban her out, because I was about to say it. The Trundle is there. You did point it out, though, Baldoran, about Trundle not having that big of success on Don't Ban It if it's in the jungle. Could potentially be top, or support has been seen as well. But
Well, if Don't Ban Nita does the thing he's been doing on Skarner, a little bit on Talia as well, he tries a more offensive pathing in his jungle instead. He looks to snowball a specific lane and say, all right, this is our pre-designated win condition, right? We choose just one. Maybe we just roll it around on the twister wheel there and we choose, okay, this time it turns out to be the mid lane. We play for the mid lane and we go proactively for that one. And then the other lanes, okay, you have to do it on all by yourself. I'm going to focus on this one right here, make my pathing ideal for ganking.
But look at what's happening right now. These 2 junglers clearly through the pick and ban phase tell us that the Trundle is their #1 pick for the jungle position, because it's either been banned or they've made sure that they can get it as a first pick, and it goes in as a first pick this time around. On the other side, we get the bot lane picked off for Menjai and Galenther here. Solid picks, not something we're not used to seeing, and something that we know can work.
I like the fact that, first of all, see if this goes through, it's going to be a Kai'Sa. But first of all, something that I want to touch fast is that actually the Ezreal and Braum combo is actually really good because the passive can't get procced by the Mystic Shot because it applies on hit effects.
It does, and we almost get to see the Kalista being locked in here, but no such thing will happen in this game. Instead, it is the Kai'Sa again. So, third time's the charm. I guess he has been playing it twice, one of them actually going through as a win. And in the end, the Rakan goes through all the way to this point in stage of the pick and ban phase, and now they feel comfortable enough, instead of just first picking it, this time just picking it as the third rotation.
Might as well just get the bot lane out there. They've seen the other people's bot lane, and that means they can save their counter pick potential for later on. They get to see this top lane on now as well. They get to evaluate if they want to play like a Singed or something into it, and it's a smart pickup before we see the second ban rotation coming in here.
I was actually a little bit disappointed as well because I saw the hover of Soraka, and we have seen that in League Championship Denmark before. Been a success as well. Very big success. So getting Rakan is like, Rakan is Rakan, and I love him, and I love the playmaking potential with him. But in some way, I would like to see the Soraka.
Yeah, Soraka can be a vaguely interesting champion. You know, you make a wish, everything comes true, and you might just get a win. Yeah, look upon a star and all that sort of stuff, and you know, everything might just come through in the end. Although right now I think it's more appropriate to mourn, maybe weep a little tear. The god has been taken out of the game, so I would like for us to just hold 5 seconds of silence here before we talk about the next bans.
No! No!
And appropriately enough,
if Soraka was there, maybe you could have wished for something.
Instead, though, they deem it worthy to ban out the second part of our excitement for champions. The bird is taken out of this, and
they're just scared at this point. I think
they
scared. Played up against it once, they lost to it. Now they don't want to touch this bird anymore. They don't want to even think about playing against it, and they want to win the game, so they ban the bird. I understand it. It's no problem for me. Like,
you're sure?
You're not
mentally.
Cool. We don't need to take like 25 seconds silence break just because they ban an Anivia or something. That's okay by me. Like,
all right. Well, no stuffed turkey this time around, so Anivia's off the board. Nice. Instead, we do see the Nocturne again, highly successful for Monkeys in the first game of the series.
We do get a bird, perhaps.
Ooh. It's a different kind of bird.
Yeah, definitely is, but
seems like he's a chicken anyway. He backs out of the challenge there, but we get to see, a Mumu placeholder.
It could be the bird now as well.
I'm super annoyed by the way that they're doing this pick and ban phase, because they're just they're hovering right up till the end, and they're trolling a lot, and then we don't get the things we actually wish for.
I would like to see the S here. He's a very strong hyper carry as well. He has is not as strong as it used to be in the laning phase, but he can definitely, as further into the game we get very strong, and you can do the drafts, like drifting around on the map, do the Shurima shuffle, and have a very big impact. And when it comes to like stuff like Ornn, if you can move him around, force him off the ulti.
All right, so Vladimir is being picked off and taken away from Singularity, who have been playing the champion more. Supernova not touched this champion previously, and as a result of this, we don't know what the Mumu pick is just yet. We assume it is a top laner here, and definitely not Urgot. But in this case, we do see Karthus being locked in on the other side, and I think this time around maybe it might just go in the mid lane.
Yeah, because they already picked up this Braum, right? And if they choose to put Karthus in the support position, what do you do with the Braum? So it's going to be a more carry-orientated Karthus this time around. Suits him very well. He wants to get the resources, right? He wants to get damage into his kit, get a Rabadance, and then really press those Recrims when people are low. Just kill them outright, or damage the entire team before you start a team fight. That's what you can do with Karthus these days.
I was thinking approximately the same as well. Like, like, I don't think it's gonna be only taking into consideration that Raxon is gonna be able to carry with this Karthus if he ends up in the mid lane, which would make no other sense otherwise. But if that is the case, I could easily see him popping off the ultimate before or just in the start sequence of the fight to make him get low, and then the hard engage options that they got on their team with the Ornn and everything else that could possibly scare them off because they get low from the ulti, and they'll be like, shit, we need to back off. We can't do this, boys. And then Singularity will have sort of like free room to do whatever they're pleased.
That's quite possible. In this scenario, they haven't drafted anything with CC tools to interrupt the Karthus ulti from the mid lane, at least. Trundle would be the one having to come into the mid lane to interrupt the Karthus ultimate. So they have a lot of wiggle room to enable from far away distances the tower dives, for instance, in the bot lane. If that is one of the things we do traditionally see these kinds of plays being made in the bot lane around the turret to get the tower dive and then get the turret subsequently. So that might be the case. Yeah, certainly. It's exciting to see the Karthus though, and this time around it is as meta as it's going to get from Singularity, I feel. They do have the Ornn in the top lane. They do have the mid laner where the mid laner is supposed to be traditionally. Though still with the Nocturne and the Karthus, but those two champions are paired well.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to point out fast. When Karthus, through the laning phase, for instance, or when he hits level 6, it's going to make it easy for monkeys to come around the map, and he has some sort of a half global pressure, sort of, depending on where he is on the map, of course. But it still frightens everybody if they don't know where he is. And if Raxon pops the ulti, it's going to make it easier for him to come in and execute the person.
Yeah, it goes away there.
They could have banned something else just because it was a remake, but
yeah,
they went with it anyways, right? I guess it's just to do the same thing one more time. It's cool. I get it.
It's the respectable thing to do, but you know,
I'm moving on. Yeah. I'm moving on from the bird.
Good.
Okay.
And as you touched on with the Nocturne there, exactly, those two champions, they combine well, and you have the Ezreal as a third wheel in this scenario where he can, what's it called, the ultimate Arcane?
Arcane Barrage.
Is it Arcane Barrage? I think I called the... yeah, Sarah's ulti Arcane Barrage. That's my bad, people. But Ezreal can snipe off the targets that might go low from Karthus ultis or Nocturne subsequently following in, so they can combine each other in a three-way, and we all like three-ways here, so that might be a nice shindig here from Singularity.
Well, we quite like those, and in this game, just to take a step back, I like to think about what we said earlier, like just to hover back on what we started before we got into the picking bands. We talked about these two teams having 3 games in the bag and all the information that follows that. I think this is a better composition for a Singularity lineup than the one they just lost with, because they get a lot more priority from the jungle specifically. This Nocturne usually builds a lot of damage in the early game and can really shut down people when he ganks. So I'm gonna see a lot more pressure out of Monkids in a fashion that we used to see him in and in a fashion that he's really good at playing in.
I'm also excited to see if Don't Ban Nita is gonna be more laid back, because if he uses press to attack on Trundle early, he's devastating. He's insanely strong as a duelist, and he could possibly outmatch Nocturne.
He could maybe look for him in his own jungle, certainly,
Exactly.
with the Trundle there. But a tendency from this guy is counter-jungling a lot, and right now we've seen a more proactive self from Don't Ban Nita. I do think that's the one he has to enable himself on. Okay, make peace with the fact that Nocturne is going to get his own farm. You can try to interrupt him at some point in the early game, certainly, but still... he has to balance it out so it doesn't become it has to become more than one thing. You just can't focus and tunnel vision on one aspect of the game. On the other hand, though, Nocturne and Monkeys had a Baron steal on his Nocturne, and he had a 6-3-1 score in relative early game from that game. So not a champion he at least can't perform on, and we might just see that again from Singularity. But I have to ask you the questions, boys and girls. You're both boys. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're gonna be the wife in this relationship.
Oh, damn.
Well, there we go. If you had to choose a composition, which one would you prefer? And could we go over the win conditions for each composition here, starting with you, Justy?
Sure, I can go for Supernova in this case because I'm on the left side.
Yeah.
So, but we got the Mundo in the top lane, which just needs to grow up and get beefy. Really, just be one
Grow
big.
up,
yeah, just grow up. Yeah, and get beefy. Just be this big. Yeah, meat shield actually. Use the sadism, just be able to sustain a lot of the damage incoming and just take a beating. That's basically his only mission. And that's gonna be the same thing for Mundo, not Mundo, Trundle. But they can, with the Subjugate, take down the defensive stats from Ornn or Braum for that instance, and make him even bigger, so that they got these 3, including Vladimir in this scenario, frontline carries. Or Vladimir, sorry, is the carry here, but nonetheless, They
They
are
have
the
three
people
frontliners that can jump
exactly,
into the back line, yeah.
which also includes the Rakan engage with the quickness, and he's going to be able to do his shielding and dashing back and forth and hit multiple members if they get further into their backline.
So, are
If
you
he
saying
uses-
it's an engage comp like we've seen the previous maybe 10 comps?
That could easily be the case, but in this scenario here, it's a little bit different because normally you would see 2 or 3 frontliners be on the backline or at least try to get to the backline. Here, I see everybody from Supernova want to be there because Kai'Sa has her full
She can
engage.
do it as well, yeah.
Exactly, and Rakan can follow up with his dash, and with the quickness, that's going to give Drex the time to put out his damage. The plate can go off, and Mundo and Trundle is going to do their thing in the meantime.
So it's a lot of different angles they
Exactly.
have be able to maneuver around here in this game is what I'm hearing you say. And I
Exactly.
do like that from Supernova as well. It gives you the different kinds of styles to be able to play, and I do think they can pull off a 1-3-1 as well. But on the other side, we do have Singularity, and they have, once again, the more oddball-y picks, but this time in a more traditional sense. Storm, take it away.
Yeah, I'm just going to do this real quick as we are about to get into the game. But this is a Singularity lineup that has one goal. They want to go out of the game and go into a position where they can win the mid game. They have the Escrow for it with the Trinity Force. They have the Nocturne for it, and they have a lot of potential to go down bot lane specifically, dive the turret, use the Requiem, global pressure, and the teleport from top lane, and just kill anybody who's underneath the bot turret rather, and then get the objectives, win the mid game, and close out the game quickly. If it gets to the late game, they have the Karthus, but I see it like if they don't win in the mid game, they're gonna have a difficult time up against this more scaling comp from the other side. But I think this is the kind of comp that Singularity really wants to play against Supernova, because they tend to win out in the early game against Supernova.
I totally agree.
They have that tendency, and this time around, I've said it countless times before, and I'm going to touch a little bit upon it again, amongst other things. Nocturne and all the CC that they're drafting this game with the global presence they have gives them a lot more tools to work with, and in that regard, I think Singularity will come out ahead in this game. But then again, Supernova, they've tried something new as well. We haven't seen the Vladimir from those guys. We haven't seen the Mundo as well. And maybe those are the two dotting of the I's that they might need to additionally apply themselves into this game. We'll have to find out in just a short while as we get into the fourth game, my bad. Fourth game between Singularity and Supernova. And my, Supernova, they're playing for a reverse sweep. Show your colors, hold your flags high. Let's see who wins out there in the chat room as well as in here on the Rift. About to get ready.
I'm excited to see Vipifika on the mid lane with Vladimir, because Vladimir has been a very contested pick. And Vladimir himself is very strong. He has a good laning phase. He has to sustain the damage, and he definitely got it for both team fighting and the lane. So it's pretty stable.
It is a pretty stable laner. He shouldn't be too worried about the Karthus matchup.
No.
I feel they're not going to pressure each other. And in all fairness, I do think that favors Vladimir. Vladimir can pressure Karthus because he doesn't have the sustain, really. He does have the range, but is Vladimir going to let him close? That depends on how Vivi's going to play it.
Yeah, but also, Karthus is very mana hungry. If you want to keep spamming that Q over and over again to make sure that you can pressure the minion wave, or at least try to control it under the turret for Vivifika.
But gentlemen, I think we have a situation happening once again.
Lineups might be caught out on this
is
one.
Jeppe Ho going in, finding Lineups, flashing out, not even good enough. First blood goes down to none other than the jungler Don't Ban Nitter, and he is off to a flying start with the rest of his team.
Yeah, and they get the early first blood in this game as well, just like they did in the previous game. Lineups walks a little bit too close as they catch him by surprise, and that turns into a late flash and a first blood. So he not only...
That's what they get for banning Anivia.
That's what they get for banning Anivia. Damn right.
It's a little awkward, though, because I do want to mention Lineups did take his E, which is the dash, and he was about to hit the wall. If he just took his W instead, he would not be able to be disabled, and he could possibly maybe have walked out and not be pushed up, and the flash would have succeeded.
They get caught out here, waiting around in the bottom side jungle. Still going to get the red buff here, it seems, but they know about it now, and that means that the pressure can be mirrored on the other side of the map.
Exactly, and Don't Ban Nitter is starting on the top side of the map at his own blue, and he might just go directly for the red buff of Singularity. I don't see the Karthus coming in and pressuring him off of it And, well, that seems like a very equal start for the junglers, apart from the fact that he got the first blood just before.
I think that's gonna imbue the trust and the morale on Don't Ban Nita. Because I'm pretty sure he's gonna get confident enough to actually go in there and be offensive and see that it actually works very, very well. And he do have press to attack on as well, so he will possibly win the one-on-one fights against monkeys. But he needs to be aware of the mid lane priority, because if it's on the Singularity side, then Karthus is gonna be there and help him out.
And as we speak a little bit about the dichotomy of the jungle matchup here, the Lord of Light has blessed us with his gift. We do get an Infernal Drake here as the first Drake of the game. First Infernal Drake, I think, in this best of 5 series. Damn right. So the Eternal Flame shine bright, and I do think we're going to have some fights down there in the early game. It's certainly an objective that both teams would like to get on ahead on with.
I'm curious to see who's going to take it, because that's going to be... That's going to be something you want to prioritize and you want to get. And both teams have some sort of a mid or late game orientated composition, but with a bit of early game as well. And that could possibly be a turning point, which could excel into the mid game for both sides, and especially if you get the dragon.
Yeah, certainly if you get the dragon, that's one of those things that cements your posture into the actual late game if we get to this part in this game. Normally we don't see the games going very late, and we're only 3.5 minutes in here. Right now the bottom side vision is coming in for Supernova, so they can pressure a little bit forward in the lane here. At least they're trying to. Oh, no, my bad, Singularity. And Drakes and Jeppe Hall, they're both reapplying the pressure, though, without the vision. Right now, not a lot of vision coming through, and the farm is basically pretty even between the two junglers. So slow and steady early.
We need to remember that in the last game and the game previous, we've saw the first kills happening around the 6-minute mark. If I remember correctly, we at least had 3 kills around that mark. And in this game as well, we'll see that Monkish is about to go back, get his items, and then they can start to try and make some situations happen. And I think it will be kind of the same situation once again, where we see them set up for kills, and then whoever reacts the fastest gets to get ahead in the first beginning of the game here.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I hope to see Monkeys being offensive now, or at least within the next few minutes. I would like to see him be proactive before level 6. I do know that Nocturne tend to wait sometimes, or at least you don't see him that offensive before, because you can easily do the dives and it's gonna go fast. But when you look at this bot lane, it's being pressured pretty hard, and you know Ezreal as well. It's hard to push out a lane, especially in this sort of a matchup. So if he could come down here, we do see it in the minimap though, the counter jungling, but that could potentially result in some summoner spells and then a return gang when he hits 6. And then that could succeed.
That could possibly succeed. I guess we could hypothesize a lot of things for how it might turn out in this game. Right now it is slow and steady, and I think we ought to be as well. Not a lot going on. We do see a little bit of counter jungling, as you mentioned. They do get the Wraith camp, what's it called, Raptor camp now at this point in the favor of Singularity. They take it away from Supernova. But
and they give it to the Karthus as well, right?
Yeah, they do give it to the Karthus.
Like they try to funnel some extra resources into this hyper mid lane carry that really can like lay waste and pump out damage, no pun intended, in the later parts of the game. And even when we get to the mid game, the first Requiem is actually pretty good. The 250 damage you get from it is not something just to scoff at. If you use it before a fight, you can get people kind of low, and then you can start fighting. But in the beginning, it's pretty hard to get kills with it. That comes later.
I do agree. Nice icon shift there, by the way, from Ninja.
Yeah, but he's running low on mana now, so he might just have to recall, and I do not see Monkeys coming down here to assist his bot lane to get out of it and get a nice recall going. Vivifica applying some pressure in the mid lane. Yeah, and I do feel Singularity, they're just trying to sit back and relax and scale up a bit this game, because for once they don't really have the winning lanes going on here.
No, and one thing that we want to mention as well is that Israel or Menjai does not have his tier yet, and it's gonna be rough. And we look here, as you can see on the mini-map, the Dragon Storm.
Yeah, definitely is going on that moment. This is Don't Ban Nita calling off the bot lane. Oi, that was looked pretty dicey there for a second with the concussive blow from Galentha coming in at the crucial moment. Smite did, however, got used by Don't Banita, and the Drake is secured. The first Infernal Drake and the first objective goes over to the likes of this Singularity team. Nice little pickup for them, and a macro play that is worthy of the games we've seen.
Yeah, they actually applied the tempo to this game for once. Tempo is very important aspect of League of Legends, and because of this first blood, they can snowball this tempo into an actual dragon take. They do get the pressure from the lanes as well this time around because they've drafted better, or Singularity has drafted less carnival-y. They do have pushed in lanes right now, and that results in an Infernal Drake, first Infernal Drake of the series, going to Supernova.
I like the fact here we saw it pretty just fast. Telvik actually managed to keep his wave control in this scenario. He tried to pull up the wave back into the lane and make sure that it's gonna collapse with his wave. So a potential top lane gang could actually happen pretty soon, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That's quite possible. Right now, Telvi is just setting himself up for the wave, but it's being pushed in by Lineup, so that might turn itself around in a moment here. And you can see Monkeys is actually hovering a lot around the top side of the map. He's been doing that quite a bit recently. And as opposed to that, we do have Don't Ban Nita in the bottom side. Vision is coming through a little bit now, and Supernova, they are using the lead that they've gotten themselves and turned it into a couple of pink wards, I think even 3 across the map, and they have a nice little line going.
And this is a crucial moment. Here comes the first paranoia of the game underneath the turret. It's a Call of the Force God hitting. Requiem is doing a lot of damage. In the bot side, we see a gank as well at the same time. Lots of action happening, but this is Telvi getting out with a sliver of health in the top lane, just abandoning his turret to stay alive, and he makes it.
It's a very nice flash.
He does make, yeah, because of the flash, he gets out of the fear range and the damage range of Nocturne. He flashes at the right moment.
Oh, nice engage. Double knock up here from Yebeho. Great play from the support, and a double kill goes to Don't Ban Nita underneath the turret of this Singularity lineup. They get the turret as well, and this is the first turret of the game.
I think it's amazing to see Supernova excel at this point here in the game. Also, as you mentioned, fast here is going to be the first turret, and they make an excellent dive under it. But the thing here is that Supernova is doing the same thing as they did in the last game, and it still works. And it works for them.
They are applying the pressure. They need to do it. It's like Supernova, they've come alive here in the 12th hour. They realize the fact that you have to play aggressively sometimes in League of Legends to get out ahead. And if you want to win the early game, you have to participate in the early game. That's certainly what they're doing now with a 3-0 going over to Trundle. So yeah, Don't Ban Nita, he's listened. He's listened or reacted and done something differently. And he's very, very proactive in his way of playing right now.
Including the Dragon.
Yeah, but you need to remember that this is a Singularity lineup that hasn't really done much in the 9 minutes we've seen so far.
Yeah.
This is Supernova going for the Rift Hold, and it's honestly just this Supernova team being behind the wheel of the car at the moment, and this Singularity lineup not really doing much. So I was hoping that they would use the Nocturne ulti a little sooner towards maybe the bot side, but they've favoritized this top side.
Look at the top side.
And in top side, we see the gank coming in. Galantha jumping backwards, getting underneath his turret, and the situation stops here. The bot lane saves itself and gets out of dodge.
They do get out of dodge here. Nice little play from Supernova. They keep applying this thunderstorm of pressure that they've been building up during the game here. Right now, they are approximately 2,500 gold ahead of Singularity. Second time considering the last game we saw that they get ahead in the early game, and they might be able to close this one out as well based off of the lead they're getting.
That could easily be the case. I can't wait to see what's going to be prioritized now, because there is like approximately 1.5 minute approximately for the next
we
Dragon
might
here.
see another thing happening top. This time he's charmed and he's dead. Menjai goes down. Galantha in trouble, flashes out, and the turret is not long for this world, I think. This is great pressure in the top lane.
If they can keep doing this over and over again, when they hit the 5-on-5 team fights, that's going to be crucial.
I really don't understand what Singularity are doing here. I mean, it seems like they're succumbing to the pressure. Maybe it's been too long a series. Maybe it's too hot outside. The sun's burning down on their broad shoulders. They can't seem to carry anymore. It's 4-0 for Supernova, and they've let them into this series, it feels like.
This is Monkeys going in for a kill. He gets the fear on to Yebeho, but it's not enough, and they get away. They are continually trying to defend their base, but it seems like they're one step behind all the time, Singularity.
I'm excited to see if they can actually manage to get this first mid lane turret here as well. Or what do you think, Baldurin?
Well, it seems like they're knocking on Heaven's door, the door in this proverbial sense being the turrets
Oh,
from...
this is the stairway to heaven indeed. He's going into the fight, trying to kill him and send him to heaven. Linup's trying to go for the kill.
Oh, and
Here
there's
comes the
Karthus.
Requiem, and this is Telvi going down to Raxen.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to kill secure here, and they do that with the Requiem. Nice little fancy feat with the knocking on the Heaven's door and Stairway to Heaven, Stairway to Hell, more like it. And this time, Telvik goes down. The first kill over to Singularity, and maybe it shines a little beacon of hope for them in this one. You touched a little bit upon the mid turret. It is the last standing outer turret from Singularity, and they've gotten 2 of them down already from Supernova side really quickly.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see if they can keep up the pressure, because I think Supernova has been doing very well so far. It's like looking at it as if it was the last game, and I enjoy it, because you mentioned it before as well, Baldoran, Supernova haven't been looking pretty solid the last couple of matches, but last game was really good, and it looks like it gave them back the hope, like this bright star that's just shining upon him and giving them the energy back into the game to fight to actually get the 3rd place.
It looks like a different team playing right now.
I do agree.
I have to agree. They haven't seemed to have this energy previously in any of the series. Not yesterday, not really today, until after the previous game. It might have. It might have jump-started them into actually action here, becoming men of action at the necessary time, the last 12th hour. This is the last time they get the chance of actually coming out as the winners of this series, regaining the hopes of the 3rd place.
And they went back to comfort, right? They went back to the playstyle that they thought was good enough against good game eSports, but didn't really work out. And now we see them going in here in top lane. Monkic with the engaged, Paranoia challenged, but a nice little flash from Telvi. And this is Monkic being in trouble. 2 overextended, and he goes down. Telvi gets the kill. That's a nice little play from the Don't Bandita going in here and finding Monkic out of position.
An excellent counter gank here coming from Don't Bandita from the river. Coming in here and putting the pillar, slowing him, and everything was burned from Monkeys. There is no reason to either flash or do anything else, because you're dead.
It doesn't seem ideal for Singularity to go in here. They don't even have the Karthus ulti up yet. It seems like timing should be the key component for this team composition, as they have a lot of things working together. But if you don't have the cooldowns off of your ultimates, I don't see them bothering really with trying the Nocturne Paranoia. It just seems like a harmless try in the end.
Also, I think it's a bit weird to see that Monkeys keeps putting pressure into top lane. I totally understand that they don't want a big Mundo. That makes sense. Who wants to be against that? But it's gonna be hard to kill a Mundo already. And why not try to go for a squishy target instead? I do know that Yebahao is gonna follow this Strix all along, like all the time. But you have to prioritize something which is easier to kill.
Oh, we might see them going for something more than just the turret here in mid lane. Vivifika looks for the engage, does not find it, and the turret goes down. Backing out is this, this Singularity team. They find something, but
a whole lot of nothing.
Whole lot of nothing. They only fight the way out to their own base. They only fight the escape path.
Yeah,
right?
They're on the back foot. We're only 15.5 minutes into the game. It's a almost 6,000 goal lead in the favor of Supernova at this point. The biggest lead at this point in the game for those guys, honestly. And, things are looking dire for Singularity in this game, certainly. They have some comeback mechanics, but they have to get a lot of single, double kills before they actually become relevant in the entirety of the game again.
I'm excited to see as well what Supernova is going to prioritize, because in the meantime we saw an Ocean Drake going down as well very fast. But the Nash is about to be here within the next 4 minutes. So I'm sort of excited to see what Supernova's next move is going to be. If it's going to be like forcing fights, or if it's going to be more objective orientated fights, or anything really.
Right now, if we take a little bit of a look on the vision here, we do see the pink wards coming through for Supernova. They are applying it in the top side of the map mostly, even though they do have a couple of wards in the bottom side river as well. Vivifica has reclined himself into the comfortable chair of split pushing with Vladimir here. Oh,
and here we go once again. Galenthan hitting his ultimate this time around. Recream being challenged, and this is Monk finding kills on the backside of the turret. They go in onto this tank as well, but he is not. Ooh, he gets to flash away. Don't Banito really gets out, but his teammates are dead, and this is Telvi TPing into it. Almost empty lane.
Yeah. Indeed, they get the teleport in to defend it on the back half of this.
They want to turn this around. This is Vivifica coming in with a nice flash. Gets the kill onto Munkus, chasing down Menjai. He gets the double kill, and they're going for the members of Singularity. Linup's in trouble under his own turret. Telvi in the front line, and they're just going for turrets now.
There's not a lot to do here.
Yeah, an entry point for Singularity in the game. They get a fight that actually looks to be beneficial for them. I don't see them getting the turret off of it, so they should just have backed out right off the bat. They don't do that, and that gives the time and opportunity over to Supernova again to get the flank off of this. And they do. They turn it around. They get the kills back in order. They get the sheep back into the fold. And they're still ahead.
This guy, this Rakan supporter he's playing, Jeppe, is really dangerous to face up against if you meet him in the jungle. The quickness and the knock-up is just it's just so dangerous. If you get charmed, you're sure to be dead.
It's a lot of CC tools coming out of one single champion indeed, and Jeppe has been looking good on this. I do believe it is his most played champion actually, so there we go. He applies the pressure. He has a very forward mind when it comes to the vision. You see they get to place the pink wards in the top side, Supernova, right? You have 3 pink wards, almost 4 if I don't quite see.
There is 4 actually in the top side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. There are 4 pink wards in the top side of the map. They have them all down now. This is not the Supernova we've seen before, but maybe it just takes them getting into the lead in the early game to actually pull off the vision game and not ignore it.
I'm actually, what I want to, if I can just rewind a little bit about the fight that we saw in the mid lane here, because we saw Vivifica coming in with a flank from the mid lane, but you do not see Singularity respond to that pink ward, or I'm sorry, to the ward that they had right next to the Raptor camp, which actually gave his positioning away, but he made it all the way into the lane before we saw anybody from Singularity move away.
Yeah, and maybe these are 2 tired lineups right now. The motivational swing has gone into the favor of Supernova, certainly. They may actually think they can win this, and that is exactly the spark they need to light the fire, the biggest fire the North has ever seen, I might add. And, well, right now they...
here we go. The Drake has already gone down, but maybe more is yet to come. This is Mundo getting to walk out very, very low on health. Jeppe Hoes has gone down already. Don't Banita in trouble here, up against 3 people on his own. Yeah, I don't think he makes it, and he gets shut down by Menjai. Great engage here from the Singularity lineup, who finds something in the river.
And just as we praise Supernova for lighting the spark up under the asses of Singularity, they come around and they get another fight that looks to be in their favor. They're biting back in this one, and they get the turret on the backhanded off of it. And this gold, this gold deficit is turned around. I need to work on my vocabulary here, but it's only 3,000, actually not even, more like 2,000 gold in the lead of Supernova now. So they've been throwing their lead a little bit.
One thing I want to mention here as well is that Simon, or I'm sorry, Bill Doran, you mentioned a lot, and that counts for yesterday as well, about the vision control from Supernova. And if we look at the river side right now, there is not a whole lot of vision from these guys. So if they might had the vision up in this scenario, this could have been prevented. They might have lost the Mountain Drake, but they would not have died in vain.
Yeah, and it's a bit retarded if you ask me. I mean, they warded the top side. I'm sorry, they warded the top side. They didn't have any vision in the bottom side. They go for the Mountain Drake because it spawns.
Oh, and this is Singularity, Supernova starting up the Baron and pulling off of it again. Tense little situation where they could have gotten engaged upon if this Singularity lineup chose to. So they back off wisely and start trying to get this ward control back in their favor.
I like the fact that they start doing that around Baron Pit. They actually do try to contest the vision now. They should just have done it exactly the same way, just in the bot
They
river.
should have done it sooner, to be honest. They had the vision before. They had the vision around the Baron. They had it in the top side jungle, the red side jungle of Singularity. But the thing is, they never apply their presence in their jungle. They never, maybe they deny them their jungle camps, but they don't stay up there so they can push it forward. If you look at Supernova, they always, even though they're ahead, they get stuck in the river area. They never go further because, oh my god, if we go on further ahead, we might get caught out. But that's not the way you play League of Legends. You move your jungler and support into the opposing jungle. You have your laners push in the mid lane or the side lanes together.
Oh, we might see something happening. This is Paranoia. This is Call of the Forge God. It is hitting. It is killing this support. Jeppe Ho is going down, and they find their 7th kill of the game. Singularity with the outplay here, finding a kill, finding the advantage, now pressing down mid lane.
That's actually quite impressive and very nice, and I think it was a good use of the Ornn ultimate here, because it's going to allow them to siege the mid lane, and they got the Banner of Command minion in the background here that they can defend, and it's on a ranged minion as well, so it gets some other...
Oh, nice pillar. They
it.
might want to engage onto this pillar. This is Vivifika doing a lot of damage, but is it enough to get any of the members of Singularity? It does not look like it. Don Banita is chasing everything he's got, but he's not really getting close. That's
Raxon.
an enormous pillar! They get onto Raxon, and the team fight ensues with a great engage here from Linux. He goes down, and Galenther and the rest of the fight is split in two here with Vivifika flashing in, getting a kill, getting this Nocturne down, and shutting down his killing spree. He gets him! Magic gets the kill! What a nice Requiem from Raxon, and what a nice kill returned onto this Supernova team.
I can't believe that Raxon actually gets out of this fight, and Singularity, after burning 2 ultimates to get down the support, they keep going for the inhibitor turn, but they're still behind on gold, and that gets to bite them in the ass because Supernova, they realize this, they get the engage, and now they might just get the Baron.
Oh, look at Menjai. He is so low, and he is going down. 500 gold, and a Baron buff into the pocket of Jeppe Ho and the guys of this Supernova team. Great stuff out of them, and now they're back in the lead.
I'm curious to see how they're about to use this Baron here, because they decided to, okay, you know what, let's see if we can turn the tides once again. And they actually managed to go through with this. It looked a bit, for a second, especially when we saw Vivifika being very greedy to get down Menjai, because he knew the Raxon ultimate would go through. So it was only a matter of time.
He could just have walked out.
Exactly, that's what I mean. But he didn't. But still, they end up winning the fight, sort of, and secure the Baron buff.
They do indeed secure the Baron buff here in the 12th hour of this game, and it's been a bit of back and forth. Singularity have shown their teeth here. They've been biting back on the skin of Supernova, but in the end, they are their own worst enemy when they get these fights off, because they just go a little bit too far. And Singularity now again on the back foot. They have to defend against the Baron.
We've seen some great pillars out of this Trundle. Don Banita really placing them nicely to catch out people out of position. Seen it twice now, the third time in the jungle just before, and maybe that's the way to start the fights from Supernova if they want to go under the turret. Instead, it's Singularity starting up the fight. Call of Forge God hits 3 people. Channel of Requiem. Paranoia hitting people in the background, but he dies immediately. 2 people down from Singularity. More is soon to follow. There they go. And this is Telvi with a double kill, charging in after this. Karthus and Raxon is not long for this world. Ace to this Supernova team, and they want the base.
You might want to start playing Silver Scrapes, everybody. It looks like this best of 5 is going to exactly that. 5 games in total. Supernova pushing down the aisle of this game. They look to even out the scoreline. 2-2 in this game. Supernova, they're back in it with a determinating fight after exactly the Baron kill here. And now we get to see the 5th game of this series. Singularity on the back foot after a turnaround from Supernova.
Is this the reverse sweep that we asked for? Is that what's going to happen? Supernova is looking on point in these 2 last games.
Sorry, I'll just step out here, guys.
And if I had a mic, I would drop it. Like, this is anything you could have asked for. And,
really?
And now we really get to a point in our series where the 2 teams have to really dig down, get the comfort picks and then turn it into a serious win for themselves.
I do agree, and I'm really curious to see if Supernova got what it takes to take this last game of our first best of 5 today. It's
yeah,
gonna be
we
amazing.
get the full amount of games you asked for in the early
I
stages
got
of
it.
it, and you got it. Ding down diggity, you asked for it and you get it. And well, we're totally excited about the fact that we're going
Really?
to 5 games. As for the guys out there asking whether or not this is what I got the answer for right now, when are we going to play the finals then? Well, obviously, we're going to have to go the full series stretch with this Supernova versus Singularity matchup. So after that, we're going to have a brief pause, and then we're going to get into the grand final. But first of all, we need to settle our manners here, and that is Singularity between Supernova eSports. So we're going to go into a quick break, catch up as much time as we need, and then, after 5 minutes, we'll be back with the determining... Well,
that is. It's 2-2.
yeah, but it's what's it called? What's it called?
The
last-
third place
Woof.
match determined.
Yeah, I'm having a stroke here. It is really hot in here. It's the last match between Singularity and Supernova, certainly, and we're looking forward to seeing that. But 5 minutes break, first of all, and then we'll see you soon.
I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go. Through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go. Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you've seen Harry Potter ever, it's possible that Daniel Day-Justy has actually swallowed an invisibility elixir, so he is standing right here, even though you might not see him. Just kidding, of course. We're getting back into the game between Supernova and Singularity. This is the 5th and deciding game between these two guys, these two teams that have been matching each other very well in the series as we get our last attendant in here on the backbone of the Champ Select as we begin to get into the Champ Select of well, it's been a long day for us. It's the 5th game. We're getting into Champ Select, and we're excited to see what kind of picks are coming through.
We most definitely are, and this is a Champion Select with a few quick bans. I'm tired as well, I think. And this is Yasuo, it's Skarner, it's Trundle once again, and I think we'll see more of this same way. I think we're going to see Zoe banned out, the Morgana as well. Things like this I don't think we will see the Irelia one more time as well. So we should suspect some of those bans at least to come through.
I think the same thing.
We might just see that come through indeed. We are jumping back out of Champ Select. I don't know what happened, but probably some minor flaw in the Death Star, and that is the result of a cancellation in the Champ Select here, and we'll get right back into it. Let's take a moment to cool down here because we've had a long series. We've looked at 4 games now, 2 for Singularity at first, and now 2 in the favor of Supernova. Something we need to address now is possibly the mind state of these players. And if you guys could address the mind state, the mindset they're in right now, the two teams, and talk a little bit about that.
I think Singularity is actually pressured mindly, like in the mindset. And I think Supernova is on the better mindset right now because they took 2 games in row, first of all. And I think they're on a sort of a killing spree, if you can say it like that. I think I could actually see Supernova taking down Singularity here, even though I bet it against it. I did say 3-2 to Singularity, but I could see Supernova taking this home because they're mentally boosted.
Challenged?
Not like, and not as in boosted, as in like being boosted, but their morale is being boosted positively because they're in a 2-game win streak and the reverse sweep is possible.
They could certainly play the momentum. I think that's where you're going here. And with a 2-0 in the bag off of a 2-0 loss in the first 2 matches here, certainly, we would suspect the Supernova players of being in a better place right now. Though fatigue might be hitting across the board on both teams in this scenario. Could you touch a bit on that?
I just want to real quick go to the point that this fatigue may not be the real thing as well. I think these players are really tunneled in on some of the champion picks they're playing, and I think Singularity has made some errors in their pick and ban phase these 2 games. And I'm so happy. I was just about to say it. I'm so happy that they banned this Trundle, because that means we will see more aggressive junglers that can actually impact the early game. I honestly hope we won't see the Nocturne once again, because if Singularity wants to come back into this game, they need to get Monkeys rolling with kills early in the game.
They do, but still they did have some comeback fights in the previous game. They just went a little bit too far after both of their comeback fights. They went towards the inhibitor turret after getting a couple of kills, but they were so far behind and the death timers weren't that long, so Supernova were able to turn it around and get the Baron, and then off of that get the fight that ended the game in advantage for Singularity. But certainly, Singularity, going back to some of the draft things, the successes they're taking away from Supernova right now, they're taking both junglers away that he's had success on from Dom Panida.
I'm actually not surprised that they do this, but I want to say that yesterday we were sort of knocking a bit on Don't Ban Nita because of his performance. And now in the last game, we see how respected he is at this point, because he had such a big impact in the last 2 games. And I think that's a clear sign to Singularity that they feel they're being pressured, for sure. Otherwise, I would never see this response coming.
No, those are not the traditional bans. And for the first time ever, we see the Morgana going through the pick ban here, but also the Xin Zhao. That is a clever trick if they wanted the Morgana from Supernova's side here, because they know they prioritize the Xin Zhao very, very highly on the side of Singularity. But then again, Monkeys has shown a lot of proclivity on this particular
and they should show this priority towards this Xin Xiao. This is one of the most formidable opponents to meet in the jungle, both in the counter jungling scenario and also in the ganking scenarios. So they get a really strong first pick here, and it's followed up by the Graves, a pick we don't see a lot of, but it has been one of the favorite picks for many pro players as well, and one of those junglers that you can really put some damage upon and get a carry performance.
I like the fact that they're taking Graves as well, because Graves' range is not that big. So when Xin Xiao decides to use his guard, Graves is still gonna be inside of the circle with his range, which means that damage he provides is not being removed. It's not being parried. Exactly. And then I see your face, Bill Thorin.
I think this is completely retarded. I honestly think Supernova are having a stroke right now in the 5th game at the 12th hour. Of course, I can't predict the outcome of this game, but Graves, all right, fine, very well. You want to play a champion that is hard to execute. You have to be able to get the priority to actually enable this champion to wave clear and all that sort of stuff, but you leave the Morgana. The Morgana has been banned for a reason. I know Yebahol plays a very excellent Morgana. They don't pick it up. They want maybe the safety of the Braum instead, but what's the point of this pick and ban instead?
I'm sorry, but I would have seen the Morgana in here as well, because you would deny so much CC. With that spell shield coming in from the Braum ultimate, just in that scenario, I like the Fiddlesticks. That's not the point.
Yeah.
But Morgana is still open, and I would have said that would have been a better pick, to be honest.
You could even say that Jeppe Ho could go for this Rakan here as well, because that was what he performed really well on last game, and now we see something really interesting. This is a throwback to when Kai'Sa was really dominant and the number 180 carry pick, first pick even, and this was the one counter that most people played into the Kai'Sa pick there, because Kog'Maw can stand up against her and really just out-trade her both in lane and in fights.
Certainly, yeah, the go-to pick into the Kai'Sa has certainly been the Kog'Maw, and this is the first Kog'Maw of the tournament so far. Well, of the playoff stage, and as we go into the second stage of the pick ban phase, we do get removal of Singed and Ornn, so might as well be that we don't see the traditional top laners. Mundo might get removed here as well, and then we get to see something new entirely up there.
And that's really interesting as well, coming from Supernova here, that they ban out the Singed as the first one, because then they kind of force the opposing team to ban out Ornn, seeing as it's the best counter to Ornn. And that makes it really interesting what other things they had in mind from Singularity.
I could easily see Camille come into the picture, but I would like to see
She's
something
already
like...
banned, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But something like that split push orientated, that was my point.
Yeah.
And then I want to excel into Fiora, because Fiora is very strong in my opinion as well, especially with the new items, because what she does is a lot of true damage. She has, by her kit, a lot of substain, and I haven't seen Fiora in any games after the reworks and stuff and new items, but I could possibly see the new Infinity Edge being useful on her.
Yeah, they're hovering the Blitzcrank here. They're yanking our chain. We're not going to fall for it, Supernova. I'm sorry. Another thing we do, or we have seen already from the top lane, Lineups actually did quite a good job on the Illaoi, and this time around they have more tools to work around. Vladimir, they deem it a success from Vivifica the last time around. Traditionally, Supernova haven't been playing Vladimir that much, and they just
Well, I would say, though, before we touch on this, Vel'Koz, which is a nice pick.
That is a nice pick.
That Vladimir was actually one of Vivifica's more played champions if we go all the way back to Season 1 of LCD. And I just think at this point it's the second best thing, right? You ban out the Anevia, and then you go to the Vladimir.
Yeah, it's a safe pick. He has self-peel. He can get out with the pool, and that is... all right, we get the Shen in. It is a blind pick before we get the top laner here, and they might just match the Vladimir into the Shen if they want that.
I don't see Shen as... Oh, the Urgot is being hovered. But then again,
boy.
I don't see Shen as a big surprise, to be honest. Because Shen with the Kai'Sa engage, with the Stand United buff, is going to be nice, because he, like, in this scenario, Menchai has nothing to lean his back up against. So taking Shen into this picture here is sort of... You know it from the beginning.
Sorry.
Because Kai'Sa in this scenario has nothing to lean up against whatsoever.
And
they have no Rakan. They have nothing. A Fiddlesticks is not going to help out Kai'Sa if she does an all-in. So it's sort of, yeah, I would say pretty normal to take the Shen into this scenario.
But they don't want to get engaged on. That's the entire point of this combat. We'll get back to that. They want to be the ones engaging
That's what
the
I'm
entire
saying.
game.
That's what I'm saying. But Fiddlesticks is not going to be able to help out Kai'Sa defensively in this scenario, and she needs that. Therefore, Shen is the most normal pick to take with the Stand United, as we've seen a lot of times.
Well, it is, though, the first Shen we do see in this playoff stage, and I do believe it's quite a bit bold and ballsy to pick that bruiser in the top lane right off the bat with a counter pick hovering from the side of Supernova. They do not, however, pick a counter pick necessarily into the Shen. They do pick a Cho'Gath, who traditionally, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't do it very well against the Shen in the early game. But we have our two compositions locked in and ready, primed and ready, I should say, for the fifth and deciding game between Supernova and Singularity. And what we should do here, ladies and gentlemen, we should go over the win conditions for the respective teams. Any of you guys feel like jumping in on this one?
Well, I would love to take both teams if I could, but I'll just go off on this Singularity team and just say that as I touched on earlier, this is a lineup that really wants to engage, right? We've seen it a lot, and even though they have range on this matchup, on this lineup as well this time around, it's mostly from the backs of something like a Kai'Sa that actually engages as well on top of the tanks that is dashing in. This Xin Xiao wants to get really dirty and up close and fighting with people early on, and the Shen can complement that by helping out with Stand United, getting in with the taunts, really getting kills in the early game. Vel'Koz is a very oppressive mid laner if you've played against him, does a lot of damage, and in team fights he can kind of hold his ground in the middle while the rest of the team is going forward with the Crowstorm, with the charges and the taunts. So very aggressive comp, and right what they did in the first two games. I hope it works out for them, because this is looking more and more like their style. Let's see if it happens for them, because on the other side, Supernova did some of the things they've done the last two games as well.
Yeah, and it succeeded, and they actually went good with it, because as we can see, they got the Cho'Gath top. You mentioned it shortly about the matchup, so I'm going to jump over that part. But overall, they got a very late game orientated composition.
Indeed.
But Graves is also strong early, and he's like, if you get a good lead on Graves, you can excel, and you can do it very fast. Very, very fast, and he's going to be hard to compete against. And I mentioned it earlier as well against Xin Xiao. We do know the setup and mechanics about Xin Xiao, and especially with his ultimate, how annoying it can be. And it's going to help him out definitely with the increased range on Kog'Maw when he goes into this turret stand sort of thing.
Yeah, he's Graves, artillery, basically.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But Graves, on the other hand, has a very short range and is able to be inside of it, and he has the quick draw so that he can slide or dash, however you want to put it, to either side, so that he can eventually evade some of the more skill shot orientated attacks from Xin Xiao. So scaling is the key in this scenario, but with the presence of Graves to helping them out early game.
And I think that's you go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say before we jump into the game itself that how fitting that this is, that it's two lineups that really fit the teams, and it's lineups that they have won their games with. This is the compositions that these two teams seem to be able to win with, and the compositions that they are comfortable on. So let's see which team is the better one. This is the fifth game. This is the deciding one for the third place, and we are going shortly into the game.
We are shortly loading up onto the Rift here, and as we said before, you have to play the silver scrapes out there, because this is the fifth game of the best of 5 series. Some might apply themselves a little bit of magic to that number, because in League of Legends, the fifth and determinating game is the most exciting one, normally speaking. And, well, we have two lineups locking in some compositions, as you touched on, Storm, that might actually suit their needs. So we're loading up on the Rift, and make your colors clear.
I'm excited to see Raxon on Vel'Koz, because I know somebody in Denmark who has been, is it number 2, 3, don't hang me up on it, the best Vel'Koz, and he's named Blue Ben, or something like, or Ben 10 or something.
There are some quite skilled one-tricky pony Vel'Koz players in Denmark.
I don't know if he's a one-trick anymore, though, but still, he had an excellent performance on it. I had the pleasure of casting them like 2 years back, and that was excellent. So I'm very excited to see Vel'Koz again, because I haven't seen him that much.
Yeah,
for a very
actually,
long
we
time.
do get 2 picks we haven't seen in the playoffs as of yet. We do get the Belkos, and we do get the Shen. So one thing we can't say about this series is that it's been boring, because we do get a lot of new stuff, and it's really hard to get a grasp on what is actually the more concurrent meta. Maybe we're going to get a better bite of it from the 2 stronger teams, Roll Again and Good Game Esports, in the final following this
And remember,
one.
we didn't see any of the Master Yi Tarek shenanigans this time around in this series. We saw a lot of it yesterday. People trying it out, seeing if it could work in the playoffs. And this time around, the players are running down the map on Summoner's Rift here and Singularity.
They're going to let it rip on Summoner's Rift.
They
There we
definitely
go.
are. And this time around, it's Singularity looking for some kind of opportunity, perhaps, on the map early on.
They might look to counter and invade, more like it. Lineups is still here. He might want to go towards his top lane. He's recalling now right off the bat. I didn't get to talk that much about the champions, and I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Graves is, for me, one of the most garbage champions in the entire game. I know everybody likes how well he farms and scales into the late game and all that sort of stuff, and I do think it's a strong champion, don't get me wrong. But for these players who are a bit below the par of LCS, of course, I don't see them utilizing it very often, this pick. I do like the Graves in this composition, though. He's able to enable his laners who are going to get shoved in the way I see it here in the early game. He can wave clear, make sure they get the right recalls, and in that way, you know, enable his team to go for late game where they're the strongest. So that way, I do like it. But when you have to play him offensively, when you have to push forward, when you have to siege, these sort of things, I just too often, more than not, to see the teams fall off short when trying to utilize the Graves.
Yeah, and the same goes for the Graves now that you're on him. Graves behind is not good.
No.
That's basically 4 against 5. Basically, because he's not that strong. He needs to run. He needs to be the one in the front. He needs to be the one who's
He needs
fed.
to run free.
Yeah.
He needs to be free, yes.
You need to be able to go in as Graves and know that you can survive. It's not going to only help you out if you got a death dance or something. You need to be the one carrying. You need to be the one in the front, because that's what he does.
He needs to be the secondary AD carry, really. And a thing I want to touch on the lineup here and of Supernova, they don't have a lot of tools in the offensive-minded state of the game. They have a lot of re-engage tools, and I do like that because they normally get behind in the early game. Not the last 2 games, though, but it seems like they're defaulting back to a style that will leave them behind in the early game, and that might come to burn them in the butt.
Look at this. This is Monkids going in, stealing the blue buff, getting caught a little bit out.
Coming down.
Concussive blow on 1 stack, 2 stacks, flashing out, getting a 3rd one. Does he hit it? He does not. He gets knocked back. BB can't really connect with this finishing 4th blow and the stun, and he gets out alive, but a lot of flashes blown in that situation.
Yeah, huge advantage for Singularity here. They do get the blue buff, and they do get 3 flashes as well. 4 summoner spells in total burnt from Supernova's side. And once again, this point that I made about them not having the tools proactively, they only have the Braum stun, right? They don't have anything else to lock down and enable themselves to get these kills, and now they just have to look to scale, honestly.
And that's sort of also the point, but you miss all sort of kill potential as well. You miss a lot of pressure, especially in the bot lane, and you don't want to be like, one thing is you don't want to shove the lane.
Oh, this is Monkids once again on the path of this aggressive path. He is really trying to put his presence onto the map early on, and this is great news for a Singularity lineup that won the first 2 games using this exact style.
Yeah, certainly, and in a game where theoretically they don't have a lot of engage tools on the opposite side, Singularity, they might not feel as pressured in the early game. If they're not pressured in the early game, it comes up, or it comes down to them basically botching their tower dives for the sake of Supernova, or even if they don't, well, then they get to execute appropriately and then snowball the game into their favor.
Something that I would like to see as well, and we saw the combo from the from Raxon, and it hurts like hell. But I could see the fun part in Lineups getting a good taunt, and the true damage ultimate from Raxon goes through. That's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt bad.
Yeah, they might be a little bit butthurt after that one if that is the case and if it comes through. Right now, We're in a bit more of a calm state of the game. Singularity, let's take the calm situation as it is. Singularity, they've placed some vision. They're a little bit ahead in the top side of Supernova's jungle, as well as the river. I believe it is a scuttler. And if we look to the neutral objectives on the map, or the only neutral objective on the map right now, it is once again an Infernal Drake, the first thing being spawned in this game. So a lot of stuff to be fought over, and Supernova, they don't seem like a team who wants to fight on very early.
No. But then again, both sides would actually benefit a lot from this. I do know that everybody wants the Infernal Dragon, but some teams benefit more from it than others.
Oh, this is Don't Ban Nida in trouble.
flash.
He gets knocked up, gets slowed, and he gets put down. Raxon with the snipe, with the triangle shot over the wall, and he gets the first blood.
He gets the perpendicular angles just right to execute the last hit on that first blood, which honestly gives them the most amount of gold from the situation, because he gets the kill and the assists goes over to Xin Xiao. I'm not sure whether or not the changes in terms of assists have influenced this somewhat, so it's only the guy with the kill who gets all of the gold. Either way, the carry gets the gold. That must be the ideal path for Singularity in all regards.
If you look at it in a bigger picture as well, it's very important that it's actually Don't Ban Nida that dies in this scenario and not somebody else. Because as I mentioned before, if Don't Ban Nida or just Graves in general falls very far behind, he's going to be basically totally useless.
Totally frickin' uselado. Well, in this regard now, they are certainly trending a bit behind Singularity. They are 1,000 gold ahead right now, and it's looking good for those guys. And you said, oh, you have a hole missing widely with the Q there. Flash!
Oh. This is dangerous. Don't Ban Nida once again in a bad situation, and Raxon gets the second kill.
Again, they keep aiming for Graves, and this is what's going to help him out. It's basically going to be a 4 versus 5 fight.
It definitely is, and this is the Infernal Drake going down now as well. This is great news for a Singularity lineup that wanted to go out of the gate swinging, and they definitely are at this point.
Yeah, and my point exactly when it comes to the Graves, I believe he's a piling steam of hot dung. 0-2 going, well, I don't know what's going to happen in the next stages of the game, but I don't see him enabling them getting out in the late game. So, well, they've obviously negated this champion right now from Singularity's side, and they're looking very strong with 2 kills on the Raxon. They're prime carry, if you ask me.
I do agree, and I hope to see some more aggression now from Don't Ban Nida, but not necessarily on the mid lane, because you know Vel'Koz as well. Vel'Koz is very aggressive, and he has a lot of damage to put out, and that's not something that Don't Ban Nida want to meet. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to be useful in the other 2 side lanes for now.
And look at this Singularity lineup now. This is the Singularity we're used to seeing in the weekly plays. This is the Singularity that gets ahead in CS as soon as they have a kill advantage. Right away from the start, they have winning lanes all across the board. Only Menjai is even on CS in the bot lane, and that's fine, honestly, up against his counter matchup.
Well, to be honest, they do get a little bit of extra gold from Targon's Brace going over the 11 CS going over to the Braum, but it's as even as they might expect. I do see the Kog'Maw being very strong into the Kai'Sa. We touched a bit upon this, so they're doing fine. Singularity bot lane doesn't have to rush anything. They're just waiting for the genius Crowstorm coming up from Gelagentha, and that might turn him into a player on the board, and we'll see him roaming and looking for some ultimates.
I like the fact as well that Linux actually decides to go with the Tiamat, so that he's going to be able to keep pressuring Telvik under the tower constantly, and also that minor amount of sustain that he gets on the other hand, because Cho'Gath himself do have to sustain, and Shen doesn't.
Go and have a look at Don't Ban Nida right here. He has the vision lit up, so he is able to smell it out, but is he going to get out in time here? No, it doesn't seem like it.
Oh, here he comes. Rupture does not connect, and the slow is not really enough afterwards. They really needed to hit that Rupture, but look at the damage he did onto Linux. This is Monkic coming in from the riverside. He wants the fights to continue, and this is Telvi going down because of it. Don't Ban Nida, next man to fall in line. Monkey's not with a lot of health, but ulti coming in.
Oh my god, that's a lot of damage.
Mid laner. This Raxon on this Vel'Koz is doing a huge amount of damage, and a double kill gets his way. 4 kills onto the mid laner of Singularity, and they are well in the lead.
They are well in the lead indeed, and Raxon really proves to us that Vel'Koz can be a proactive played champion, and he gets the skill shots just right. I know his ultimate, just pile up the cannon in one direction and fire away, and he gets the kill on the backhand of this play, and it's a 0-3 Graves, a 0-1-0 Cho'Gath, and 4-0-0 for the Vel'Koz in this aspect.
We can hope, if we look at this with Supernova eyes, that they are able to excel like the longer the game takes, and hopefully be able to get to this 40-minute mark in game so that this Cockmaw can do his thing. The same goes for Vladimir. I do know that he has one item spike as well, mid lane wise, but that's not gonna be something that's gonna be relevant against a 4-0 Vel'Koz.
It is indeed not. We're only 10 minutes into the game. They have a reassurance in the Infernal Drake, having gone over previously to Singularity. So they are well off to the races here in this last game, and things are looking a bit dire already for Supernova. Right now, the gold lead has catapulted into a 2,000 gold lead in the favor of Supernova. No, my bad, I misspoke. Singularity, of course. And, well, as a result, they have to play on the back foot with the Graves not coming out with assistance to the
And
laners.
this is honestly a totally different Singularity lineup. Look at this. They're just going in and they're going at it. Killing Don't Bandita once again in his own jungle. He has died 4 times now on this Graves. This is horrible. They get to go down bot lane, and they really get to shut down Yebo. Oh, big plays from him, but not quite enough to get out of range. And this is Vivifika looking for the kill.
Ulti.
Yeah, little pressure play here, and a good save from Monkeys that gets him out alive, gets saved by Lineups, stand united, and they get to pressure the turret once again.
Yeah, and this is the Supernova we usually see when they go behind. It is usually a well-executed tower dive from Singularity that puts them even further ahead. They're looking towards this bot side turret. They have the tools to enable themselves into doing this. And Supernova, they never really seem to smell when the jig is up. They never call the rotations, it seems. They never get their laners outside of the turret beforehand so they can re-engage afterwards. No, instead Yevahal gets caught under the turret. They execute the tower dive. They don't get the turret quite yet, but they're still applying the pressure to get it down.
And look at this. He's just using the life ray.
Oh my god.
Completely demolishing anybody standing in his way right now. They get the turret. They get a kill onto Don't Bandita. This guy must be really hurting by now. And this Singularity lineup is picking on the jungler.
It's actually quite of a shame, and I feel bad for Don't Bandita in this game, because I totally get Monkey's playstyle, and he is a very offensive and impressive jungler. But again, we talked about it, Graves, when he gets behind, there is not a lot you can do, really, and you lose all pressure, and it's got to open up for Monkeys, and Monkeys rather want to be in his jungle than his own. There's no reason to be in there.
No, he doesn't really need to farm his own jungle any longer, and I don't know if this makes a strong case for online bullying. Certainly Don't Bandita might feel this way. Maybe we should stop the game right away before it goes out of hand. A 0-10 would certainly be devastating for the jungler of Supernova here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they should see if they could sign up for some kind of help, because honestly, right now they need it. And this time around, they're looking towards some vision control around the Drake. But it looks like Singularity can pull out all the stops and control the area at this moment.
Oh, and it's a second Infernal Drake actually spawning here. We didn't take a look at that previously, but it's up now, and Singularity certainly with a 7-0 score might just look to get the second Drake of the game here.
Ooh, I like them actually trying to go in here onto Monkeys. They don't really get the... They get the stun! They get the ulti off, but he's not quite dead yet. Here we go. Monkeys down. This is Hall picking up the kill, and there are still 5 members of the Supernova team around this river area. Singularity still closely around. They want to stop the Drake from happening, and it looks like they can't really make that. Oh, they're circling around them at the moment, and Supernova has to back off.
It's actually quite a shame, because we see how much they wanted to go for Monkeys in this scenario to win over the Dragon so that they can get it. There is no smite challenge, but you have to respect Raxon on this Vel'Koz. The damage output is absolutely insane, and they respected all of them.
They do respect it. It almost looks good for Supernova for a short while there, but not entirely. They don't have the balls to go for the Dragon here. In the end, they probably determined that Shen has his stand united ready, so they let him split push up there, but I wish they would have forced it a little bit to get the Shen ulti out at least so that he would get away from the topside turret, which he now got. So honestly, 2 turrets in the favor of Singularity, and I don't think they mind too much that they they flaw their perfect score, and Monkeys goes down in this one.
Yeah, and instead we might see a neophyte happening very soon. 2 turrets already going down in the favor of Singularity as well. It seems like this gold lead is just ballooning in their favor. I like Telvi going down here
Monkeys
without
on
the
the wrong
TP.
side.
Stand United being channeled, trying to save Monkeys. They go into Jeppe Hall. He goes down. This is 2 people already dead from Supernova. Telvi standing alone on the front line. Drakes with the artillery can't really help out, and it's a double kill to Raxon.
They just get obliterated or disintegrated, I might say, instead, and that results in a 10-2 score for the favor of, or in the favor of Singularity, I should say. And on top of that, they pile on with another carcass, the dragon in this case, and that buffs them up with a lot of damage in this case.
We saw it. It came in. Stand United with the taunt, and then afterwards, Raxon is popping that ultimate, and you see the damage going through. It's piercing everybody, and that true damage, you gotta respect it, and you have to take distance. You can't just be standing there, and they, as you mentioned out, get the second Infernal Dragon in this game.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a hard thing to look at. People are being slaughtered in front of our eyes here, and it's a 0-6-2 Graves right now. I know we're focusing a lot on him, but he's also the majority of the kill. He's 60% of the deaths from Supernova's side here in the favor of Singularity. So certainly that deserves the opposite of praise. And on the opposite side, we have 6 kills on Singularity's mid laner. That guy, they have to get to the artillery if they have any hope, and they want any hope of winning this game.
And they're honestly doing a great job of getting all these kills onto the carriers of Singularity as well. Raxon is the guy who gets all the kills at the moment, and he seems to just be able to pick up one item after another. It's great if you want to root for Singularity, because they are really in the lead at the moment. And right now they are contesting this Rift Herald, it seems. Domban not in any position to be able to stay around the Rift Herald, and he's calling his team towards it, but I don't know what they can do down there.
I'm curious to see here as well when
Nice
the Drake's
duel we're
got his
seeing.
item. He got the Rage Blade right now, and I do know that's a very big power spike for
Oh,
Cosmo.
this seems to be a real dual flash from Telvi. He gets the nom nom nom. Feast goes down. He kills the top laner. Great stuff out of Telvi. And this is a small light for Supernova, who gets the win in the top lane as the the Rift Herald goes down in favor of this Singularity lineup. They can use that to get even more turrets now.
They certainly can, and we get the extended 1 versus 1, which is always going to go in favor of the Cho'Gath. You don't want to dance and tussle with that monster for too long. In this case, Linux finds out the hard way, and he goes down and gives another kill over to Supernova. We're now on 3 kills, but yet another turret going down in the favor of Singularity, and they balloon their lead into a 6,000 gold lead after 17.5 minutes.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen now, because they got 3 turrets, all 3 tier 1 turrets. Where's the pressure going to be, Storm? Because they just took the Herald. The Baron is not going to be here before in like 2.5 minutes. So what do you think? What's going to happen?
I honestly don't think it matters where the pressure is going to be put, because this Singularity lineup is just so far ahead at the moment that they can stalk out the entire jungle of this Supernova team. They can look for the kills in the opposing side of the map, and then they can convert that into the next turrets.
They might do that, yeah. I think the vision line should be propelled into the opposing jungle. They should just really choose which side they want to play towards. And as it seems, since the Shen has gone bot lane here, they look like a team who wants to play towards the top side, and thereby the red side jungle of Supernova. So that's where they're going to move the vision. Monkeys is already there, and along with Galigenta and Benjai, they look to pressure up the waves to then gain the advantage of actually being allowed to go into the jungle.
Oh, and we're going to see a lot of this Galintha standing around a corner in a bush, looking at flowers, preparing the Crowstorm. And this is one of those things that you can do with this team. You can get some engages off that you normally wouldn't be able to, and really surprise the enemy team.
I totally agree. And now that we have Fiddlesticks in this picture as well, we have to pretend as well that when the team fight breaks out, who's going to be feared? It's probably going to be Drakes in this scenario, if he becomes that late game beast artillery machine gun that we know Kog'Maw to be.
And something I want you to notice real quick here, okay, we get the Rift Herald down, so I might not get to touch upon it. Storm, you might want to take
Yeah,
over
they're definitely going to fight for this at least. They want the turret in the mid lane just to open up a little bit more of the map. Let's see how much Supernova wants to do about it. The referral goes down. The turret is not, however, yet down, and that means that this Singularity lineup has to find another way to get...
Just barely down in the mid turret there, but what I was about to say, as this turret probably goes down, what you see Singularity do when they're ahead in a position to Supernova, they actually move their vision up and they stay in the damn jungle because they need to have the pressure on that... I don't know what you call it in English, but the length of the map right there, that line going through the map.
Invisible line,
yeah, the line going through the tier 2 turrets. If you draw a line there, they have to have the pressure, the presence of the champions in that area, so that you can quickly commit to whatever siege you want to look into. They go up there alongside with the waves, where Supernova, when they get ahead, they don't enable themselves to push the vision forward. They push the vision forward, they get out of the jungle, and then they don't do anything with the priority that they're having.
I totally get what you're saying, and I do agree, because that's going to make sure that they don't get any unpleasant surprises in this scenario, so that in this scenario, Singularity can pretty much do whatever they want, because there's not going to happen anything, because they know what's going to come. If anything's going to show up, it could be potential, I don't know, Flash, Feast, Telvik, I don't know, something.
Yeah, honestly, what is this Supernova team gonna do at this point when they are so far behind and they don't have this engage option? They only have their flashes, and that's just not good enough against a team at this level, honestly. They really need to hit some nice ultimates, maybe out of Jeppe Ho, or in a combination with Vivificus Vladimir. We've seen him do some nice flanks in previous games, and that could be one of the ways. But seeing as the vision control keeps getting put up to this line of scrimmage, it's getting hard. And this is Jeppe Ho finding himself in a really tricky position, caught between a rock and a hard place, and he goes down. This might be the Baron.
It might just be the Baron. The Fiddlesticks remains as a scarecrow in the topside jungle of Supernova's jungle here, while the three of the carries, alongside with Linux joining in here right now, go on the Baron. And we might see if they get to turn this down. A lot of the Supernova members are here, their jungler least of all, and well...
Oh, the flash in!
Oh.
But Monkids gets it, and they get the kill on the back side of it. Don't Bandita not quite able to steal this one away, and they secure the Baron.
I totally understand the fact that Don't Bandita want to challenge this Smite, but we know Monkeys, and we've seen what he's capable of when it comes to the challenge. Like, normally I would say it's a 50-50, but what I've seen from Monkeys, I would not even say 80-20. He's so confident in his smiting skills and being able to keep himself calm in these very strict in troubled situations where you have to be on point because somebody else is gonna challenge you. But it seems like he's all calm. I got this.
He's a nice kind of jungler that way, Monkeys. I have to agree with you, because Monkeys is normally the guy who does whatever the teams require him to do. He can carry if he has to. He can play the utility champions if he has to. And when it comes to smiting, that's a utility part of the job. You know, it's part of the job description, and he does that very, very, very well. We've seen that quite a couple times in this series already. So yeah, Monkeys has a palette of options to his name, and he keeps improving on those things. And I do believe that's why he's one of the better junglers we have here in Denmark, honestly. A guy with now international experience, and yeah, he could be one of the people I actually think could make it in the LCS at some point.
Something I want to point out very fast. Look at how they put up their vision Supernova. Look where Singularity is and where is the next objective. Yeah. What are they doing top?
See, the point you're making here, I agree with you, because Supernova, they're always so far behind on the tempo, the macro play in the game. The idea of the vision being set up this way is a great idea. That's the way you should do it. You should just move it to the bot side.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. You have to predict where they're coming, and then you have to be able to do some sort of trap, because you don't have the engage tool, so you have to surprise the enemy. They're not willing to pull out any surprises, so what that happens is they're always in vision. They always see where they are, so they can go straight forward up in siege, just like they're doing now. And with the Baron buff, I might add, it looks very dire for Supernova.
It really does, and with one inhibitor already down on the Supernova side, they get to push not only this lane with the Baron buff, but they get to push him mid lane as well with the minions. And this turret is not long for this world. Monkids gets it down together with the minions, and the inhibitor is soon to follow. This Singularity lineup goes in, they find the jungler, they can't really connect him, but look at the damage on Sotelvi. That is crazy amounts of damage from the Vel'Koz, and they just tear apart the tank. They look for the Nexus turret. They're still 5 members strong, full HP, still all their abilities available, and they're just looking to end the game right this minute. Oh, Vivifica goes in. Nice flash from him. They're trying their last chances with a fight. Crowstorm! They go in! They get him! They are underneath the turret. They're killing everybody. Double kill to the Shanto Lineups. And they're flashing underneath the Nexus. This is the Nexus going down, and this is Singularity closing out our 5-game series. What a game! What a series!
This is the end of the road for Supernova. Singularity take it in convincing fashion when it matters most. The 5th game comes out in the favor of those guys, and we have a deciding 3rd place winner here. Congratulations to Singularity. That was very, very well played. Supernova didn't even look to get their foot down on the pedal at this point. They tried to push the brakes, but the brakes were out and the car just went on going. And, well, if you keep going at high paces in a car without brakes, you're going to crash eventually. This is what happens. And, yeah, once again, congratulations to Singularity.
I think it was very well played from Singularity. Though I do want to mention, I think Supernova tried their best, but I pointed it out. They're like 2 steps behind. And when I saw that top move with all their vision and they started placing it at that point, I was like, the next objective is in the bottom. There's a dragon. The Baron is gone. They won't go top. They want to go bottom.
It makes perfect sense, and it seems like they're not intuitive enough as a team, as a unit, when it comes to the macro. I'm certain their coach is looking into those things, but maybe we've seen the difficulty in the scene when it comes to improving on these macro factors. We've seen a lot of improvement across the split from all of these teams, but it is the first, well, for some of these teams, actually the second time they get into a best-of-5 scenario, and in this best-of-5 scenario, it's a different dichotomy, and you have to be able to perform at all stages and aspects of the game, and the macro falls short for Supernova, where Singularity, they're better to enable themselves to have the pressure when they pick comps that are suitable to their needs.
And honestly, just want to congratulate Singularity for winning the 3rd place of our split. It's been a long 14 weeks, and this is where they end up. Quite commendable in my eyes, and yeah, just congratulations to the Singularity lineup, and well fought from the Supernova team as well. I got to predict this as well as you, Justy, and that's the first time we actually get something right, I think.
That's super annoying because that ties up the score between us three. You've gotten the series right today. I did it yesterday, and now we're all right for once. And
but we get one more chance,
We get one more chance, and we might find a winner amongst ourselves. Whoever wins, I presume, buys the beers tonight. We'll see about that after the grand final coming up, honestly, in not so long a while. Because this game went so long and Singularity took it to 5 games and Supernova as well, we're going to postpone the final to 8 o'clock, or approximately. We might go on a bit before, but at least 15 minutes break now so we can rest our delightful voices, so we can whisper yet again in your ears for another, hopefully, best-of-5 series.
I just want to fast say before you end this part of the series, a big congratulations as well to Singularity for a very, very well played all 5 games first of all. But I think it was an amazing 5-game series from the first part of today, and I really enjoyed it, and I love to see the fact that even though Supernova did very poorly the most of the time, I love the fact that they also got those 2 games and showed off in their own way. So, and I think they should take that on their backs as well, because they're tough teams.
They are tough teams, and as you said, Supernova, they do get the 2 wins in here. And you know, take the positivity out of that. Honestly, that's a positive thing. Of course, it's going to have a bitter taste because you don't actually get the 3rd place. Singularity, of course, they're probably elated, delighted to have this over with. They get the 3rd place. And another thing, if you have to touch on memes a little bit, Supernova actually ended up on the 4th place last year, so they might not. Well, they might just be the new Team Liquid of Denmark. So forever 4th is definitely an option here. But on that note and on that bombshell, we're going to end this best-of-5 series and look toward the grand final in approximately 20 minutes time, maybe 15 minutes, but we're back with you shortly and within that time span, so stay tuned. The grand final is coming up.